What's up guys, my name is Ace, and a couple days ago I made a video talking about the top 5 epic variants that I would consider crafting in Infinite Warfare, and one of them just happened to be the DMR-1 Spectacle. In that video I had a lot of people saying save your salvage, don't bother, because the M1 is better in every single way. And it turns out this is simply not true. Today we're going to be comparing the DMR-1 Spectacle variant to the classic M1. Let's get into it. Alright guys, so first things first, the cost for these guns. The DMR-1 Spectacle will cost you 4,000 salvage, so you have to actually save up that salvage to craft it, or get lucky and get it in a supply drop. Whereas with the M1, the only way to get it is with a classic unlock token, which I would say is a lot easier to come by than the 4,000 salvage. So the M1 definitely has the edge there. If you're just looking for the easiest of these two to get, it's obviously going to be the M1. Our aim down sight time, I was actually very surprised to see without quick draw, it's exactly the same. The DMR-1 and the M1 both aim down sight in 250 milliseconds. The big difference comes in though with quick draw. Even though you can put quick draw on both of these, quick draw behaves more like an assault rifle for the M1 where it cuts your aim down sight time in half. Whereas with the DMR-1, there is actually a negligible difference with quick draw. Based on my testing at 60 frames per second, oftentimes it wouldn't even aim down sight 1 frame faster. Sometimes I would get a frame faster, but a lot of the times it was exactly the same aim down sight speed, both with or without quick draw on the DMR-1 Spectacle. So on one hand, the M1 definitely has much better potential when it comes to aim down sight time, and I would say if you are planning on being more aggressive and running and gunning, this is going to help you a ton. On the other hand though, with the DMR-1 Spectacle, there's no reason to use quick draw, and therefore you have that extra point on your class kind of saved up for something else. Now just to get some of the identical stats out of the way for these, the sprint out time, the idle sway, and the hip spread are all identical between these two, so we're not going to be looking at those. Our clip size is also identical, but now let's get into reloading, and this kind of has to do with the clips as well. With the M1, most of you guys already know this, you can't reload mid-clip. You have to completely empty the clip until you can get a reload in, and this is one of the big downsides to the M1. The DMR-1, on the other hand, will allow you to reload mid-clip. And this is something that can be very valuable in combat. It allows you to conserve your ammo a lot more effectively, and also it can help to keep you off that minimap. A lot of the times with the M1, you know you have to reload before getting into a situation, but the only way to do that is to fire some shots, which means unless you're running a suppressor, you're popping up on the minimap. So in this situation, the DMR-1 Spectacle definitely gets the leg up over the M1. Getting into the damage profiles, the M1 has a damage profile of 60-44, and the DMR-1 has a damage profile of 75-50. What this means is the M1 is always going to be a 2 to 3 shot kill, whereas the DMR-1 Spectacle is going to always be a 2 shot kill to the body. Just so you can visualize that 3 shot kill range for the M1, it does have a pretty good 2 shot kill potential before it drops into that 3 shot kill range. So as long as you're playing smart with the M1, you can definitely keep yourself within that steady 2 shot kill range. But just note, at those longer ranges, it's going to take you that 3 shots to kill with the M1, whereas with the DMR-1, it's always going to be 2 shots to kill to the body. Now I always have to clarify here that that's to the body because the DMR-1 Spectacle, this is the area where I would say it gets the biggest leg up over the M1. It has a great one-shot headshot potential, whereas the M1 will never be a one-shot headshot in core game modes, even with the hollow point attachment. So if you're accurate, which you definitely can be with both of these guns, the DMR-1 Spectacle is technically a 1 to 2 shot kill rather than just a 2 shot kill weapon, and the M1 is still always going to be a 2 to 3 shot kill. So even though the M1 gets the leg up in the rate of fire department, the DMR-1 definitely gets the leg up when it comes to damage potential. I should also point out the penalty for using suppressor with these guns. With the M1, the suppressor is going to be reducing your 2 shot kill potential by 20%. And with the DMR-1 Spectacle, the only thing suppressor will do is it's going to reduce your 1-shot headshot range by 20%. It's still always going to be a 2-shot kill, so that's a big upside. Suppressor has very little downside for the DMR-1 Spectacle compared to the M1. Moving on to the next big difference between these two guns, this is the minimap. With the DMR-1 Spectacle, when you're aiming down sight, you don't get a minimap, so you can get tunnel vision a lot easier in this situation. Whereas with the M1, your minimap is always active. Whether or not you're aiming down sight, it's always active. This is definitely a huge downside for the DMR-1 Spectacle. Now the final thing we're going to cover here is the difference in attachments between these two guns, because they don't all have the same attachments. Even though the M1 is technically, according to the game, classified as a sniper rifle, it behaves much more like an assault rifle, and it has more of the assault rifle attachments to use. 3 attachments that the M1 has that the DMR-1 Spectacle doesn't have. We've got laser sight, rifled barrel, and hollow point. But you should keep in mind, rifled barrel and hollow point would be pretty much useless on the DMR-1 Spectacle anyways, so really the only leg up there it gets is it can use a laser sight, whereas the DMR-1 Spectacle can't. On the other end of things, the DMR-1 Spectacle definitely has fewer attachment options, and there's only one attachment that you can use on this gun that you can't use on the M1, and this is the ballistic CPU, which nearly eliminates your idle sway. But keep in mind, both of these guns have great idle sway characteristics to begin with, so I would say ballistic CPU is definitely not necessary. So at the end of the day, after comparing these two guns, there were actually quite a few more differences than I thought, and honestly, the DMR-1 Spectacle was a lot better than I first thought. Having said this, if you're looking for the best all-around marksman rifle style gun where you can kind of be a little bit aggressive but also hang back and pick people off at the same time, I think it's still pretty clear that the M1 has the advantage. With quick draw, you're able to aim down sight and snap on a target a lot faster. Your rate of fire allows you to just pop off a bunch of rounds real quick, and the fact that you keep your minimap when you aim down sight is pretty massive. Does this mean that the DMR-1 Spectacle doesn't have its place? No, not at all. I think it's still a great marksman rifle, and it definitely has its place against the M1 as well. The ability to get a one-shot headshot is amazing. The ability to reload whenever you feel like it is also a big leg up over the M1. And the infinite 2-shot kill potential, even with suppressor, is not a bad addition as well. So at the end of the day, would I still recommend spending 4,000 salvage on the DMR-1 Spectacle? I would say if you're looking for a really good variant of a DMR-1, absolutely. I would still say it's definitely the best DMR-1 variant out there. Anytime I'm using the DMR-1, I'm always going to be using the Spectacle, and I don't regret spending 4,000 salvage on it at all. Having said this, if I want to be more aggressive and I want to get more kills and I generally want to play more effectively, I am going to be choosing the M1 over the DMR-1 Spectacle. And with that, I'd love to know your opinion on this in the comment section below. After seeing the differences between these two guns, which one of these do you prefer? And also, do you agree or disagree that the DMR-1 Spectacle has a place in the game? If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.